She's like, I don't know, she's like some sort of mythical beast that's just like destroyer of phones. Vivian Wei, destroyer of phones. That's the Vivian Wei, isn't it? Few things on the agenda today. Now, the other day I actually came across a post that I saw online, kind of like going through the main China vloggers and kind of like what they do. And there's a comment actually that kind of struck me as, how to say, I don't know, I just never seen someone like review my channel, right? And one of the things that someone liked, and a thing that many people didn't like, was the fact that they kind of have to like piece together my life, because I don't give people too many examples, and I'm kind of known as the how to say, like the fun vlogger, the guy that makes the fun videos about his daily life in China, right? But while I'm not concerned or offended by that, it's just who I am, I would like to address something that kind of inspired me yesterday. So first thing is that Vivi has broken her iPhone, which is just fantastic. She has broken so many damn phones, it's not even funny. She's like, I don't know, she's like some sort of mythical beast that's just like destroyer of phones. Vivian Wei, destroyer of phones. That's the Vivian Wei, isn't it? So she broke her new iPhone 6 screen, so we have to go fix that. And I kind of want to show you guys how easy it is to do such a thing here in China. You don't have to go to a real Apple retailer like you do back home.
Because it's really expensive.
It is, it's incredibly expensive. So we're going to go do it here and see how much they charge us. But we're going to get a real screen for it, right? Now, Winston actually alluded to the fact that China is his favorite restaurant, meaning that if you recommend a restaurant to someone and then all of a sudden they change the chef and then the food's not so good anymore, and then instead of them apologizing when you complain about the quality of the food, they just say, get the hell out of my restaurant. That's kind of what's happening to us right now. And I have to be totally and brutally honest with you guys that China, when I first came here, was a much friendlier and more hospitable place. I, because of the actions of my government and, you know, the actions of the West and, you know, whole rampant nationalism that's happening here, have noticed a massive change in the way I've been treated here. And a lot of people in the comments section, the reason I made this, because I think Winston did a really good job of actually talking about this, is that they're saying that it's just people online, it's just nationalists online. That's just not the case. And let me give you some examples. So most people have been saying that it's just netizens online that are kind of ganging up and getting paid to write bad comments about foreigners and things like that. But I'm here to tell you this is not the case. What I'm trying to tell you is that, like, I've noticed a big change in the people around me. I'm talking people like my father-in-law, who I get along with very, very well, and I have, you know, lunch with every week, and we talk and have chats in Chinese about, you know, politics or anything really. Traveling, photography, all that kind of stuff. And the issue is that he's not turned on me personally, but everything out of his mouth now is just anti-foreigner, kind of like, yeah, I wish these foreigners would kind of leave. You know, China's kind of getting middle income, it's getting better and better here, and they just want to rain on our parade. Everything's about shitting on China, so I wish foreigners would just kind of get out of China. And it's like that kind of attitude, talking to me about that kind of attitude is like, it's brutally honest and also very offensive. I've noticed that when I go out at night now, I'll get people will swear at me quite often. They'll say, go home foreigner, and use profanity and actually kind of speak really badly about me. Especially when I'm out with my wife and my child, they'll say like, when they look at me and my kid and my wife, kind of like, scoffing the fact that I've married a Chinese girl, that she married me. The attitude nowadays is just, I don't know how to explain, it's just not as good as it used to be. And it's weird, like I've gone through this situation now, I've been here so long that Winston said it really well. We are customers now, we live here in China. We're not strangers here, we're not travelers, right? So I've paid taxes like he has. I've lived here so many years, 7 years now, and I've raised a family here, bought a house here, and you know, put all my money back in the economy. And yet now I'm being treated like a hostile foreigner that has just entered China. It's just not, it's not a welcoming or hospitable environment right now. I don't know if you guys have noticed anything different. If you've been to China recently or lived in China recently, I don't know if you've noticed anything differently. But for me, it's been a souring and sad and almost heartbreaking experience because of how much I love this country and how much it's done for me and how much I feel like I've contributed as well. But either way, this is, again, I'm going to echo Winston's message. This is a message to everyone that's telling me to go home with my family. I don't feel like it right now, and I'll go home when I'm ready. I'll continue to make videos about China. If I rub you the wrong way, you need to stop being so sensitive because my videos are pretty innocuous and non-confrontational. So whatever nationalist kind of movement is going on right now in China, I hope it ends pretty soon for the sake of me and my family and my videos and my subscribers. So anyway, let's go finish up this fixing of the phone. So right now he's heating it up to get all the glue off. Don't black your face. You're just watching your shame, watching your mistake. Lawiners, you might think I'm being harsh, but Vivi's broke so many phones. It's not even funny anymore.
It's shaking syndrome, okay?
Parkinson's? Why do I not believe you?
280.
280. What's that in US dollars?
Less than 50.
See how long that took? Believe it or not, she has an MBA. No joke. All right, Vivi, for wasting my whole morning, you promised me a coffee, right? With my money.
I got money too.
Hey, you got shit. Oh, it's so hot. Can you do something about that? Fan me. Oh. The weird thing is we have a really reliable friend, and he always helps me out with electronic stuff. He's actually a really cool guy. And he charged us $380, whereas these guys only charge us $280. Which either means that the screen we just bought is not legit, or
he's legit because I already asked like 3 more shops, but those shop is like pretty far from our home. So I just like feel like whatever, just put a little bit extra to that guy. But like 380 compared, like,
yeah, it's way too much.
It's like 100 more.
I see a coffee shop. It's Yummy Log. Yeah. Yo, ibe mesa cafe. Bingde. The last thing you want to see is Nicolas Cage on the ceiling as you walk down to have coffee. Scariest thing I've ever seen. And finally, I got my coffee. Ran out of coffee at home, so I had to come all the way to Yummy Log to get a cold cup. Anyway, what I wanted to say is I'm not the kind of guy to post serious videos, especially complaining about things like this, but I wanted people to understand what Winston was trying to talk about. Multiple people like us have experienced this recently here in China, just a palpable shift in kind of the way we're treated and the way people see us. And I guess that's to be understood. It's a collectivist society, right? People kind of go with the flow. And if the current political environment is encouraging kind of the criticism of the West and the criticism of foreigners in general, I understand why it's happening. I'm just trying to let you know it does kind of suck. And it isn't just netizens. It isn't just like the 50-cent army online. There's a real palpable shift amongst the general nature of people around, whether they're old or young. It's something I haven't experienced in 7 years, and it's not just a fluke if it's been consistently happening this year as opposed to the 6 other previous years where this kind of stuff didn't really happen. Of course, there's been spats of nationalism and kind of extremists and stuff that, you know, like to push around foreigners and whatnot. And rightfully so. I mean, there's a lot of dirtbag foreigners here, to be honest, but just recently it's a little bit different in nature. It feels political in nature, and it feels like it's difficult to know if we're going to be here much longer. It's that kind of feeling, you know what I mean? So not to be tinfoil hat or too negative about it, but that's just kind of how I've been feeling these days about being in China in general.
Yeah, a lot of like story and news are saying like people try to protest about foreigner being here, and people are just like, because of the international news about all those things, that riled up all the Chinese hatreds. And but you can't say all the people are like that, but this situation definitely getting stronger and stronger. The feeling is like, I just hope it's not gonna harm my family and my kids. And you know, I do know a lot of people like are really friendly to my husband, and the people the foreign friends surrounding us, but the whole media actually just leading how people thought, and then totally riled up the anger of like a Chinese want to stick together and try to prove our pride as a Chinese. And in another hand, like in the West, everybody is individual, so people kind of like don't understand why Chinese have those kind of reaction, and that actually making a huge conflict there. And in the news, people even like Chinese people even abroad, and they even trying to protest in the country they are in, and also try to write some really aggressive comments. They're saying like, oh, then a whole Australian are bad, or a whole Western people are bad. That leads to such a negative path. Some of our friends getting beat up on the street just because being a white person. But I'm trying to say, they were saying like recently China's situation is getting worse and worse. I try to point out that Chinese nationalism, it's always there. Long time ago, it's against Japanese, so Japanese got beat up, but it's not actually the fire not involving to Americans or white, so they didn't get beat up. But at that time, half of population of Japanese leave China just because of that reason. Then later on, the news lead to Philippines, so a lot of Filipino got kicked out and got beat up on the street. And now the story about China's South Sea, it's directly lead to America and then like a lot of Western country. So now the fire leads up to all the people are white and the Westerner. So now they're thinking like the whole country is like just getting worse and worse. But the whole circle, no matter what kind of like international news pointed to which country, those people gotta get suffer. Well, be honest, we hate everyone. Depends on our mood. Sometimes we even hate each other.
Thanks for the coffee, babe.
You're welcome.
Really
it's my money.
Oh, that's a mouthful. Anyway, I think Vivi had a really good point there. It's not that China has stopped being nationalist in the past. It's always been nationalist. It's just that, recently I feel it towards me. In a way, it's kind of refreshing. I mean, like, China's stopped kind of worshiping the West in a way. I mean, they still want Western things, obviously. But it's kind of cool that they stopped being like, wow, you're white, so you're God, I don't get that anymore, and it's kind of nice. The downside is the, general negativity that I feel nowadays, and that's not, it's not pleasant. It's not super pleasant, you know what I mean? Anyway, long story short, I hope things get better here. I hope it's just a kind of a sour patch, as they say, and I hope everything gets better. And thank you for watching, Low Winners. I really appreciate it. Catch you on the next one.